Hi, Dan from Blue Collar Back Office, and today I have the absolute honor of sitting down with Amy Russo, who is the founder of Toast City Diner, which was recently named the best place to get breakfast and brunch by New Jersey Monthly Magazine. So today I want to sit down, I want to ask Amy some questions. You're going to find out a lot of cool stuff about her origin story, her Marvel story, and we'll go from there. So Amy, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's start with kind of how you started, because honestly, I say this, like, you're an inspiration for me. Like, I love your story, how you started, and kind of how you built from there. So I don't want to give too much away. I want you to tell us. So how did Toast City Diner come to be?
Well, thank you for saying those kind words. Let's just start there. Wish I was a little bit more fresh in doing this on a Monday. Might have been
Monday, end of the day. I get it.
So how did I start? So, gosh, it was 18 years ago, and I had the desire to go back to work. I had stayed home for 5 years, and I was never in the restaurant. I was in the restaurant business from the perspective of I was a server through college.
Okay.
I was a dishwasher when I was literally like about 10 years old.
Okay.
At a local bar in Lyndhurst. I grew up in Rutherford. And then I had taken 5 years off to have my second and my third child. And I was like, okay, it's time to go back to work. The industry that I was in fragrance marketing and advertising. And I was doing a ton of international travel as well as domestic. And I just knew that wasn't going to really bode well with trying to raise a family as well.
Okay.
I was ancillarily, is that a word? Introduced to the restaurant business through my dad,
Okay.
who was also like the second, like the money guy,
Okay.
an investor in a number of restaurants and diners throughout New Jersey, but he never operated them. He was in warehousing and transportation. So anyway, I did love the business. I also grew up the youngest of 6 kids in the Irish Italian New Jersey family, and call it the New Jersey breed, and we were always entertaining, and I love that as well. And like I said, youngest of 6 kids, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give a crack at this restaurant thing.
Okay.
It was actually my intention was to open up an Italian restaurant with all the recipes that my grandmother had taught me how to make over the years, because I literally learned how to cook like on her apron strings, as they say. And then it dawned on me that I couldn't do that at night and weekends, etc., and raise the kids. So I was at, I won't name the competitor, but it was actually at what is now one of our competitors' locations at the beach. And I was sitting down with my dad, talking to him about my harebrained idea to go into the restaurant business. And instead of going back to corporate world, and I looked down and I looked at their placement and I saw their hours, and it was only during the day. And I was like, aha,
Okay.
I could do this. So that's pretty much how I got into it. So I knew I wanted to go back to work. I had young kids, so it was, I could be in the restaurant business and I could raise my kids at the same time. So they were 2, 4, and 7 when I opened the first store in Montclair.
Okay.
And I'm still hearing, oh my gosh, how did you do it then? When you're 35, you think you could do anything, and you can, comparatively to 18 years later.
Right. The energy
now,
levels.
I feel exhausted thinking about that too.
Right.
But
still,
when you're in it, you're just in it.
Yeah, but don't be too humble, because that's still crazy to just be like, I'm going to start my own business with 3 small kids at home, and this is great because it's during the day. Like, that's still a lot. That's a really big lift. So Montclair was first,
Yep.
which I've been to all your locations. They're all amazing. Make sure you stop in and get something to eat. The food's awesome. But how long, like, what did it look like when you first started in terms of, you're only open from 7 to 2? Or?
Well, yeah. So that also changed. So when I initially opened, I was open from, I believe it was 8 to 4.
8 to 4. Okay.
And then we very quickly transitioned to 8 to 3. And then it might have even been 7 to 4. To be honest with you, there was a few
variations. Okay.
In the first couple of years, not in the first couple of months, but definitely in the first couple of years, there was a few changes in our hours. And then once I realized that, it was actually up from 2007 until 2020, we were open 7:30 to 3, 7 days a week.
Okay.
That's what we got down to. It was post-pandemic that and we had talked about changing the hours before that, but let's go back to, so the first one, 7:30 to 3 for a number of years, and I never had any intention of having more than one.
Okay.
Like, that was not my plan. My plan, and I have to say, for people who that is a plan, God bless. Because it's like if you say, I wanted 6 children. Well, have one first and
see how it goes. Yeah. Roll it out slowly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I opened the first one, I really had no intention of opening a second one.
Okay.
And I would say that was May when I opened. And then by August, I kind of I knew I had a hit.
Okay.
Because before that, I didn't know. I just thought, I think I could do this really well. I have a diner background. I love food. And at that point, again, with the 3 kids, I thought if everybody that they go to Taekwondo and who I went to church with or who I knew from the neighborhood, if every one of those people tried us one time,
You can spread the word.
and it was like, and they tell 2 friends and they tell 2
Right.
friends, and it'll build from there. And then miraculously, because Montclair is also a very heavy media town,
Mhm.
in August of that year, I actually had my youngest on my hip and I was refilling coffee, and a reviewer, but she just did a quick bites from the New York Times, came in,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and she basically changed my life.
Sure.
So up until then, my one brother used to come in, and I would say he'd have to pay if we didn't break $1,000 that day, and he paid for his blueberry waffle often.
Okay. Fair enough.
And then after that article came out, we never didn't have a wait
Okay.
again on a weekend,
And free
pretty
waffles.
much ever.
Free waffles.
And free waffles for John forever.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a heavy lift because, okay, I'm open from 7:30 to 4, 7:30 to 3, whatever it is. But for any business, never mind the restaurant business, that's not the only hours you're working.
Oh gosh. No.
So like in the beginning, when all the weight is on your shoulders and you're kind of kicking it off, like how'd you keep all the plates spinning? Like how did you kind of keep it all together?
So looking back, I mean, I could tell you back then, I really and truly didn't think about it. I was just very pragmatic. You just do what needs to be done, whether it's plumbing toilets or, plunging toilets, I mean, or, you're a cook, you're a host, you're a barista, you're the manager, you're the bookkeeper. I wasn't very good at it, as we all know. You just wear every single hat.
Sure.
And it was kind of crazy when I think about it, because we get in about 45 minutes before service now to be ready. Back then, like, I didn't let anybody else make the pancake batter because it was my dad's recipe and I didn't want anybody else to have it. And throughout time, that's a really good example of you had to let go to grow.
Yes.
Because, I was making the scones, I was doing this, I was doing that. So when we opened May 1, I didn't take another day off until Thanksgiving of that year.
Okay.
And I was there at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I would get everything going, and then I would hope that the people that I hired would show up, and then I would run home because I was only about 3 miles from my house. I would run home, I would get the kids ready. They were with their dad, obviously. Right. And then I would bring them to school or to the restaurant, feed them, and then go back to the restaurant, and then work the whole shift, and then do it in reverse. That was the one great thing. I always say this. I love to cook and I love to entertain, but I really hate doing dishes. So that was like my biggest thing, was like, oh my gosh, I have this commercial dishwasher and I have a human being to operate it.
That was like the best part.
And I have to tell you, I drove the kitchen crazy back then because I did cook a lot, but I didn't clean.
Yeah.
I was like, no, my investment is
boss is done.
I walk away.
Yeah, very good.
But that's really how the first one started, with no intention of a second. It was a great way to go back, be my own boss, because I did have another business. I had a liquor store and a gas station, but it was very, very different. It was similar but different. But yeah, so 5 a.m. turned to 5:30 a.m. start time, turned to 6 a.m. And then all of a sudden, you start keeping the same cooks around for a number of years, and then all of a sudden it gets easy. And when it gets easy is when I get antsy.
And now you need a challenge.
And then I have to go do another one, because if I'm just at one and it gets easy, then I'm also micromanaging everybody and pissing everybody off.
Right.
I had a huge support, I had great support staff, whether it was my family, the kids were also a huge source of support, their dad, like I really did. My father, my brothers would come and help me when they could. I did not hire family. So it was either you can come and help me or not.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I mean, I get that. That can sometimes end up being a tricky web to get back out of. So, I mean, you brought up something that a lot of small business owners struggle with. And with my clients, when I talk to them all the time, it's the delegation thing, right? And for me too, it's something I struggle with Gina and everybody else on the team, right? It's hard to let go sometimes when you know that if I do this, it's going to turn out right. Like I know it's going to be right if I do it. So how do I let go to let somebody else do it? So how was that transition? And when do you think you started kind of getting better at it?
Not 18 years and 4 months. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Now. It's slow. For me, it was a really slow progression, but I also think that's the right way to do it, to really build your business correctly, because you can only delegate what you're a professional at. Like, you have to know it inside out and backwards. So, and I didn't have enough children. Like, my son is here now, who and he does a very, very good job, but he's still learning the ropes.
Sure.
And he was born and raised in it.
Right.
But
watching and doing are two different things.
100%.
Yeah.
And also, everybody has their own opinions on and their own backgrounds as to what they bring. And that was something that took a long time for me to realize, like, that's actually a really good thing, to be open-minded to how all these other people do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, opinions, all the sayings about
Sure.
opinions. But if you just stay open-minded and filter through some of them, there's some great things that you can learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not thinking you're always the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room. And one of the things I always say to everybody on the team is, because you probably know this about me from the couple of years we've been working together now, but I'm very particular. I am very structural, very procedural. I'm very habit. I do the same things all the time, right?
Just like me.
Yeah, just like you. That's why we get along so well. But I always tell people when I'm handing off something or new person comes on is, don't let my crazy be your crazy, right? Like, everybody's brain clicks a certain way. Like, and when I do a certain task, like, that's how my brain processes it. These steps for me to take to get to here.
Yeah.
But as long as you get here, I don't care if you take the same path I took, right?
I say it all the time now. I don't care how you get to California.
But
actually, I do.
Well,
kind of care.
Yeah, to a certain extent. Yeah.
And I've realized that I do actually care more than I say sometimes. But
your situation is a little bit different, right? So, like, for example, if somebody makes a mistake and doesn't do something the way I would want it done in bookkeeping, mm-hmm. I have the opportunity. I can go back and fix it when I review it. If somebody screws up the pancakes, right? It's a little bit different. That's what makes kind of the food industry a little bit more of a high wire act, which I love. I think I told you this the first day that we met was, I love restaurants because it's emotional. Like, it's mm-hmm. an emotional connection that you're making with people. It makes or breaks a person's day. Like, if you go out to breakfast, a toast, and no matter what else happens in your day, you can have a shitty day, and at the end of the day, you'll be like, yeah, but breakfast and toast was good.
Breakfast was good.
Yeah. Or you can be like, I had an amazing day, and it started with breakfast. That's it. Like, no matter what, it's the linchpin of your day when you go out to eat. So I love what you guys do. It's awesome.
Thank you.
So we talked about how organized you are,
yeah.
and how structured you are. But so obviously there came a point, because you had this success. Asbury was the second location, mm-hmm. and you kind of kept on building from there.
Yep.
And as time's gone on, Adam's in the picture. There's other people that are in the picture. But what happened, or maybe it is one thing, or maybe it's a culmination of things, where you realized, you know what, I need a bigger staff.
Bigger support team?
Yeah, bigger support team. What was that?
So going back to the growth, that's exactly what happens. And it's an evolution. And like I said, I think slow growth is really the right growth for almost anybody in the restaurant business. It's very rare. One of my early on people that I really looked up to in the industry was Danny Meyer.
Okay.
And he had Union Square Hospitality Group in the city, and I really watched his career. And I mean, he took off after Shake Shack and all of these places came out. He had, I believe it was 7 or more years, he only had one restaurant. And that was his focus. I mean, now he's got so many, and he's got these public companies and things like that. But it wasn't just an instantaneous open 25 places.
Right.
Even Adam's background, I won't mention the company, but when Adam joined them, there was 10 or 11. It was 28 years to get to 350.
Okay.
A lot of these companies now, they go and they open, and they're opening we're going to do 10 in 5 years, or 10 in 2 years. I'm sure there's some concepts that works well for. I don't know that. I'm a mom and pop. I still run it like a mom and pop. Mm-hmm. And then the progression, back to getting the right support, it really, if you saw, I wish we had a picture to show. My first bookkeeper was my friend Michelle, who our kids did Taekwondo together.
Okay.
She was home, and she was like, oh, I could do that for you. I was like, great, somebody else will make sure that at least the bills get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that was the extent of it. I had a payroll company that I really, really loved. They were a small company like myself, also women owned, and that's not even something that I was always about. I'm the youngest of 6, but 4 of my siblings are brothers,
mm-hmm.
and we weren't raised like boys do this and girls do this. I was raking, they were cooking.
Right. Everybody does everything.
Does everything. And then I went from Michelle to then Michelle wasn't going to be available, so I enlisted another friend, my friend Susie, and she's like, well, that's not what I do, but I can do it. And I was like, great, and then I'll do that.
Close enough.
And then we met. Then I started meeting people in the industry who also had bookkeepers that they liked. George, did you ever meet George?
I don't.
No, I think.
No, I don't think George.
Julie was around.
Julie.
So we went so it was Michelle, Susie, George, Julie, And Julie was this big jump from these other people because she was actually like a bookkeeper.
Okay.
And then what I didn't realize is a one-man show versus you guys, when we were introduced to you through, I think, somebody that Peter Zock knew, right?
Yes.
It was, and I'm not just saying this, I say this to everybody, it was life-changing. And you said something before, you're like, my crazy doesn't have to be your crazy. And it's so true, right? And what was one of the first things I said to you? I was like, so I'm a mess, right? Like, I know how to operate a restaurant. Could I figure out all the bookkeeping? Quite possibly. Do I ever want to? Absolutely not.
Right.
And it really is amazing. Like, I used to say I was a success in spite of myself, but once you get really with, like, I call it the big guns now, of your support, whether it's your accounting team, your bookkeeper, your vendors that you have, your attorneys that you need, unfortunately, at times in this business.
Yeah.
And once that relationship grows and grows, it really does free you up, and it frees up your brain
To focus on the most important things.
Exactly. And it also starts getting me a little nutty at times because I'm like, oh, I was better off when I didn't know that.
Head in the sand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A little bit of that.
Yeah.
You know, and now I'm like way more, I mean, obviously Adam is way more involved in the really detailed numbers, but I am like, what do you mean it was 16% instead of 15%?
Right.
And those types of things. But as you grow, you need it.
Yeah, you do. So what one of my other clients called it was his virtual board of directors. That's kind of a phrase that he used. And I said it to him, and I say it to you as well. Like, you have a great support system of, us and Adam and Peter and the vendors, all the different people. They're all pulling in the same direction for you, right? And I think a lot of that comes down to, quite frankly, it comes down to you, right? Like, you're very honest, you're very genuine, you're very upfront. You don't pretend to be something that you're not. You don't pretend that you are a bookkeeper and you know the answers. And so I say it all the time when I talk to people. It's like, yeah, I can spackle your living room for you and I can paint it, but I wouldn't recommend paying me for it. Like, so don't try to be a bookkeeper. Don't let me be a spackler. Like, I can make a pancake.
Right.
Nobody wants to buy it. So you make the pancakes, I'll do the bookkeeping. Like, everybody doing what they're best at and then pulling the company in the right direction, and the results are there. I mean, you just keep growing.
100%. And I think that's where you're very unique, though, in the sense of you also have a business brain and not just a bookkeeping brain, because I find myself reaching out to you fairly regularly for literally just business advice. Like, you've become more like, as much of, you're amazing at the bookkeeping and what we're in business together with, but you've also are a business colleague. And that, as you are in your own business, that's like, there's not enough money you could put on that relationship.
Oh, well, thank you. I
it
appreciate
really is,
that.
because, I'll call you and be like, do you think this is right? Because it doesn't seem right. And sometimes you need that validation.
Just bounce the idea off somebody.
Yeah. And even recently you came back to us and you were like, this proposal, it was a lot of words, but you're like, it's actually a good deal. And I was like, really? Because I was about to shred it.
Right. No, it was.
And because you looked at it and gave us that advice, then I take a second look at it, where I literally was going to be like, no,
it's just
thanks.
too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you. I mean, that's honestly like one of the best compliments I can get. I love it when somebody comes to me and asks me a question, knowing that I can't do it. Right. Like, hey, do you know a guy? Do you know somebody? Like, I love that. That means like I've developed some kind of relationship, some kind of trust.
Absolutely.
And so thank you very much.
And you're not judgmental. He's not judgmental.
What do you say, Gina? We'll see what Gina says about that.
Well, you're not judgmental. You don't make me.
Oh, very good. Well, I mean, I think, like I said, you're very easy to deal with because you're very straightforward and you're very honest. And me personally, those are the type of people that I best interact with, right? So we're very similar. And it's funny, I don't know that we've ever talked about, like, you're from Lyndhurst.
I'm from Rutherford.
I'm born and raised in Lyndhurst until I was 8 years old. So
we didn't know this.
I did not know that. So until you said it earlier. So I'm the type of person that
So did you too get Italian ice from Lyndhurst Pastry Shop? It's still the best.
It's still amazing. I want to conduct things in as few words as possible, get to the point, get a result, and move on. And so, like, I get in trouble because I say to people, we have certain customers and people who I love genuinely as people. but they take 30 words instead of 10, and it drives me crazy. I just want to pull
Land the plane.
Yeah, I just want to pull the words out of them, and then I get in trouble because I use 5 words, where if I use 10, it probably would have came across a little bit more polite. But with you, I feel like we both just click, 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 conversation to the point and move on. So that's why I genuinely just enjoy working with you. So,
Agreed.
so it's very easy and very straightforward. And you don't even interact with a lot of the people on the team that are working in the background. You know, Ruth, Luis, Jazz, like these are all people that are in the background. Like you said, we're not a one-man shop. We're a team, and it does take a team to run your team because you guys are killing it. But for you, I still like to interact with you because of the relationship.
I don't know if that's the reason. It might be because we're still a little messy and we got to tighten up in some areas.
Well,
but thank you for saying that.
No,
that's the other reason.
there's a lot. You know, when you have 5 locations, which I don't know if we said that off the top, but now Toast is 5 locations. Montclair turned into Asbury, turned into Red Bank, turned into Cranford, which is where we are today. And now the newest location is Manalapan. And if Amy has her say, there won't be a 6th location for quite a bit of time. She still needs to get over the 5th location opening. It's exhausting, right? Just going through the whole process.
I can't even say it. Postpartum, maybe.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, plus now you have the renovation in Montclair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot. It's a lot going on.
A lot going on.
It's a lot going on. So as you kind of, now you got all 5 going and you have everything kind of moving and going and doing well, without just it being another location, what's kind of the next step for you in terms of this is where I think we can take the business and really kind of move to the next level?
So really looking at it, because over the course of the 18 years, it's really changed. Like the dynamics of just the business has changed. You know, I never did third-party delivery, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, until 2020. So I don't know if that's going to be something that we really want to, you know, I would rather not continue doing it, but I believe it's probably the best for the company and the brand that we do because, you know, if they don't get it from us, they're not going to get dressed and come in. They're just going to get it from somebody else.
Okay.
So figuring out how to be the best at third party would be something that I would really like to dive more into. And that means, you know, if you get pasta in pretty much any given container, pasta integrity pretty much stays the same.
It holds up. Okay.
Yeah. If you get a waffle, it's not the same. If you get eggs Benedict, it's not the same. So so that's something. Also, catering, you know, is a huge avenue for us. So aside of growth, getting the most juice out of the oranges that we have is really, really important. And making it feel a bit easier because, like I said to you, after the first one got easy, that's when I knew I needed to go to number 2.
Mm-hmm.
When 5 starts to feel easy,
that's the next challenge.
That's going to be the next challenge. It's not there yet. So I look at the things like that in the stores that are a little easier. Like, I mean, Cranford's relatively new, but it's doing really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's doing really, really well in dine-in. And we just started scratching the surface more with third party. So that's where I want them to focus. And I want them to focus on the catering. But that being said, you can't be everything. You know, you want to be a bookkeeper.
Right.
You're going to be a bookkeeper, not a spackler.
Right.
I want to do breakfast and lunch great, and I want to do it like an unchained chain. Can that have room in there for third party and catering? It can. But can it have room in there for third party catering, private events, nighttime things? Maybe it can.
But not all at once.
But not all at once.
Not all at once, right? So it's a key thing is, and you mentioned it earlier, is like making it perfect, not perfect, but making it as great as it can be before just kind of blowing the doors open and trying 50 different things at once.
Yeah.
You know, over the years, people have asked me like, oh, why don't you guys get into tax preparations and stuff like that? It's like, I don't want to do that. I'm not a CPA. I don't know all the tax laws. And I can go hire a CPA and put them on the team, but like, this is what we're good at. Like, and I want to be great at this. I don't want to be average at 10 different things. I want to be great at these things. So for you, as you continue to highlight and find those things that you're really great at, Adam was, I think, a point where it transitioned from you in terms of growing and opening different locations and stuff like that. How did that relationship come to be about?
So we met, it had to be 5 or 6 years before we partnered.
Okay.
We met at an industry event through an accounting company, actually. Oh. I was invited from a friend of mine. He was there. I think the owner of his former company was like one of the keynote speakers or something like that, or a panelist on it. and my brother was there, and my brother knew Adam's boss. He did an intro, and Adam and I just kind of hit it off, and I would reach out to him because, again, at that point I had 2 locations. I don't even know that I had it. Well, I must have had a third. I had 3 locations, and they had 300 in his company.
Okay.
And I would reach out to him and be like, "Are you having problems with this?" And he'd be like, "Yeah." So very quickly realized that 3 or 300 in the restaurant business kind of doesn't matter. It's all the same problems. It's just scale.
Right.
It really is. At that point, it was a lot of staffing issues. We opened in 2007, 2008. The market crashed. I was very lucky because people could still afford breakfast, lunch, and brunch. The market, I was maybe one of 3 of what I did in Montclair at the time. Now there's like 11 of us that do what I do.
Right.
So we were a bit ahead of the curve. So Adam and I just kept in touch, and he was kind of courting Toast. He loved the brand as something to bring into his company because they did a lot of airport deals.
Okay.
So he would bring people around, and we, again, kept in touch, and I would just reach out to him as like kind of, the corporate guy, because I was a one-man band,
right.
For 15 years. And so it was during the pandemic where everything was going belly up, and he was reaching out asking me about, would you think about going, selling to so-and-so? And I was like, and we were talking about it enough. And I said, why are we trying to do this for somebody else?
Right.
Like, why are you trying to broker this deal for somebody else? Like, why don't you think about coming on? And honestly, I thought I was throwing like spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. And he, I still laugh. I'm like, Eddie filed for it, I'm like, all right. And I was very, very transparent and very honest. And I was like, listen, I am a success in spite of myself. A lot of the things that I think that you would be looking at, even when he was like courting me for like airport deals, it's messy, right? Because I didn't stay on top of all of those things. So I was just like, here's all my, but the one thing I did always do was I was always on the up and up.
Yeah.
Right. I never tried to skim. I never tried to do like, all these write-offs. I mean, none of that.
Right.
I mean, Peter now, but I was just like, well, I can sleep at night. I'm good. Everything's legal. I seem to be paying my bills. I think we're doing all right.
Right.
We have an hour a week.
Right. I don't have that hanging over me. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you and Adam definitely do have different perspectives and different ways of going about different things. Adam is more granular and more tied into like a transactional basis of what's going on, and you're kind of more big picture. Not that Adam's not big picture, but just the way you guys view that. So that is very, I think, good and very important. And
there's definitely a yin and yang.
Yeah, you
sure.
have to have it in any relationship. You definitely have to have it. So even though you're not in looking at the numbers necessarily every single way, the way Adam is there something? Are there financials? Are there something that you look at on a fairly regular basis to give you an idea of, hey, things are going well?
You're gonna hate this answer.
No, go ahead.
So, as you know, about 2 weeks ago, I honestly look at the aggregate, like how much is in the bank.
Yeah. I don't hate the answer. That's how a lot of people operate.
I mean, that's seriously, I would just be like, oh, that looks like that's a good number.
Yeah. Okay.
We
cool.
can pay our bills.
It's better than the last time I looked at it. So honestly, it's how a lot of small businesses operate, right?
Yeah, that's really how I did it.
Yeah. So for you, at some point, you were.
Don't do it that way.
Yeah. It's okay to do it that way, but then call us, and this way, when you want to actually know what's behind those numbers, we can help you. So that really is what it is. You've just gotten to the point where I call it your empire. Like your empire is so big that that's a lot of different accounts to look at. But is there something that, looking back over all these years, that I wish I did this sooner, or I wish I did this differently?
Yeah, I mean, probably a ton. We don't have enough time in that. But, as far as the financials and things like that are concerned, it's the 2 biggest things. It's food costs and it's labor.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had dialed in a little bit more, because I think sometimes I was penny wise and pound foolish, thinking I couldn't afford this kitchen manager. I couldn't afford this person because I could. I really, really could. And if I said, if we cut back on this little frivolous thing over here, best example, kale and oranges. For the first 9 months, we put a kale and an orange, like sliced, twisted, very diner-esque,
Okay.
on every single plate that went out.
Okay.
Every plate. The amount of money I spent
On kale and oranges.
But I would have known it maybe a little bit sooner. But pickles, it took me like 5 years. And one day, the dishwasher called out, and I was on dish, and I threw out 97% of the pickles that we put on plates. And I was like, no more pickles.
No more pickles.
Pickles be gone.
Right.
We were going through a lot of pickles.
Right. So all that weight was still staying on you because you didn't feel like you can bring on an extra support. So that kept it on
and
your
honestly,
shoulders.
like now I know exactly what we're spending on all of those things. So, I mean, I probably would have, I think the bookkeeper is probably the first thing that I would have upgraded on sooner.
Okay.
Because I feel like you really get your bang for your buck in that respect. Because you don't, at times, if you hire a manager and the manager's just okay, right? You can deal with a just okay manager, especially if you're a good manager, which I was.
Right.
Like I was a good operator, so I could deal with a mediocre operator that could just at least mind the children when I wasn't there. You can't, like, I've had bad bookkeepers, like to the point where they missed $87,000 in fraud happening.
Not us. Wasn't us.
Was not. And by the time they found it, it was too late.
Yeah.
Because it was on a debit card, and there's different rules.
Mm-hmm.
Literally just too late.
Yeah, that's rough.
And I'm not looking at every line. You guys are.
Right.
Which is so great.
Thank you. Well, that's what we're supposed to be doing, and that's what we're doing. So yeah, it's identifying those things, and for me too, right? Like there's certain things that even in the business that I can do, but it's not my strong suit. It's not the greatest thing. So like identifying that, hey, Gina should be handling this, Bia should be handling this, because they're better at it than I am, which isn't always an easy thing to tell yourself, but
it gets easier though, doesn't it?
It does. And we've gotten better as a team, as a company, once I started doing that, once I had to stop having my hands in everything. So how the rest of the team calls it is I do ninja bookkeeping. Like I'm just sneak around the background and I take care of certain things. And then the team's like, oh, Dan, you took care of that? I'm like, yeah, I had time. I took care of it. If I'm doing all of the bookkeeping, something's gone horribly wrong. Like somebody's on vacation, somebody's sick, or something went horribly wrong. So we're in agreement when it comes to that. All right. So I don't know. You're going to edit this out, B. Let me see. Is there what else is there without the, I don't want to make it. These are all corny.
Honestly, though, like one of the things that I wanted to say before is having you guys knowing that you're on top of your game with everything. It's like we have our own internal fraud protection, and when you're growing, you need it. Like that is something. Like I know that that's not like officially, but
what we do. Yeah.
You would know if something like you've asked me before. Like, what's this charge? Might have been a TikTok charge for me,
but it's still a legit charge.
TikTok shop, but like sometimes they weren't.
Yeah, we did. So I mean, that's
every once in a while, and that's huge because you don't have enough time in your day to watch over 5 stores, 5 managers, 5 assistant managers, every server, and everything else.
And each location has multiple credit cards because you're managers and you and Adam and everything else like that. Yeah, like you have so many moving parts to keep them all corralled. Like it would be impossible for you to do that, or for Adam to do that, or any one person to do that. Like if you would hire, it's the same position that with Julie, who was a very good bookkeeper. She did a great job on your books. It's just too much for one person to be on top of. Without my team, it's a whole team that works on your accounts because it's needed. So,
man, I would have killed to have you guys during the pandemic because that was brutal.
Yeah,
all the ERTC stuff. And
you're still dealing with that.
I know
those headaches. Well, again, you have a great support system. So you have Peter that's still backing you guys up and going to bat for you guys, which
it's 5 years.
5 years. So I mean that's the key thing that I would stress to anybody that's watching this is surround yourself with people that can help you. Whether it's us or anybody else, your CPA, your insurance agent, your banker, whoever. Don't try to do it all by yourself forever because it's just not sustainable. So I mean you were able to do it for many years and you got this amazing empire, but you surrounded yourself with good people along the way.
Yeah, but you definitely have to upgrade also. That's what I was going to say is don't be shy to say, okay, your Michelle's or your Susie's of the world were great when you first opened, and because they're also doing it probably for free or very little money.
Waffles,
blueberry waffles. But then you need to know like when you've grown past them and make that change.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a journey. It's
Even if they're family members or friends, it's okay.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I am grateful for the opportunity that we've had to work together. It's been almost 2 years now that we've been working together. Yeah, almost 2 years.
And that might mean an increase is coming.
No.
I'm like, oh no.
No, we'll do that at the start of the year. But honestly, it's been awesome. I really do appreciate you. I appreciate you doing this. And I wish the place wasn't closed down because I would love some French toast.
Sorry about that. There's a great pizzeria across the street.
All right.
Across the street.
All right. I'll be back next time. Thank you, Amy. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.